Female players blow the whistle in the state of hockey on a transgender policy that's left them with serious safety concerns. Next. Kelley Grotting is my guest. Kelley, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Liz. This is really exciting.
We really appreciate you spreading the word here, but you recently wrote a fiery letter to WHAM, which is the Women's Hockey Association of Minnesota. You're now organizing and have launched a petition. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But tell us first about your background with girls hockey in Minnesota. I think it's a relatable story to so many families. But you basically grew up on skates, didn't you?
I did. So I did start on figure skates. Both my brother and I would skate on the backyard pond. And then I started competitively playing at age 8. We were one of the first girls teams with the Armstrong Cooper Association. So way back then, Armstrong Cooper was joined, and then they kind of separated. They're back together now with youth, but we had the first Armstrong youth hockey program for girls. I played through high school. I was a multi-level athlete at Armstrong, and I played 4 years at the University of St. Thomas. I took a couple years off after college, kind of dealing with what I wanted to do after school, and then I found a wonderful women's team with WHAM, the Women's Hockey Association of Minnesota. All former Tommies. We all went to the University of St. Thomas together. So it was really fun to play with players that I had never played with in college, and we all came together to play in WHAM, and we've been doing that for almost 15 years.
When did then the issue of transgender biological men playing in the Women's Hockey Association of Minnesota become an issue?
To my knowledge, this year. One game we showed up to the rink and we noticed that there were very tall players on the ice. And you can tell we have all played hockey for decades. This was not a player that was a female. We did some digging, and we just used the internet to realize that there were transgender players on the opposing team, which was confusing, disheartening, and in between periods, we kind of came together and we're like, what is going on? You know, we just left our husband, kids, a messy kitchen to come here and play hockey, and now it feels unsafe. It's not fun. So what are we going to do?
So in relation to all of this, you write a letter just recently here to the Women's Hockey Association explaining how this isn't a matter of politics. It's truly a matter of making an already tough sport unnecessarily dangerous. You're playing against multiple biological men at this point in a women's league. You said this has made a mockery out of WHAM. And in your letter, you wrote, I am not a transphobe, to each his or her own, but pretending it's okay for men to play in a women's league insults women's sports and creates serious safety issues. Are we including ethical issues, or are we not there yet? For all women who love to play the game. But tell us more about that, what you've seen now for yourself as you have started digging.
So just last week, our most recent game, one of our players collided with a trans player in the middle of the ice. And it took a long time for my teammate to get up. And it took one comment when she finally caught her breath. She got on the ice, or on the bench, and she said, Val, I don't know if I can come back next year. And that was absolutely what broke the camel's back. We have to say something. I think other teams are starting to talk about it. I don't know of it personally, but someone needs to do something, and I am not afraid. I'm going to do this, because what is the alternative? It's our team disbanding, and women that have played this game since they were less than 10 years old. We don't have a team, okay? It's the whole thing of you are going to lose women hockey players by doing this, because it's no longer fair, it's no longer fun, and it's no longer safe.
After you sent that letter, how did WHAM respond?
It was a very diplomatic response. I got a response about in less than 12 hours from the women's director of Minnesota Hockey. She basically said, wow, you have a lot of feelings, but thanks. There's nothing we can do because we go off of USA Hockey's rules and regulations. See you at the rink.
I also wanted to mention that Alpha News has reached out to WHAM, and we have yet to hear back. Of course, if we get a response, we'll include that in the story. But you said this isn't a matter of politics, but things do seem different now. Just recently in England, a transgender ban in women's hockey has been recently implemented. Here in the States, President Trump issued an executive order banning males from participating in female sports. Yet, here we are in Minnesota. Even the Minnesota State High School League, they've dug their heels in and said, nope, biological boys can still play with girls in high school. But as a player, what do you think about the politics regarding women's hockey in our state?
I think a lot of people have no idea what was going on. Again, this was new to us this year. The more I've started talking about it with people outside of the hockey community, they're like, well, I guess I was indifferent, but this is wrong. This isn't okay. I had no idea what was going on. So it's just my big thing right now is to keep the conversation going and let people know this is what we're facing. If you have a daughter in high school, if you have a daughter playing college hockey, we make a joke that everyone ends up in WHAM. Everyone winds up in women's league after their glory days of college hockey, high school hockey. So everyone ends up in the same place. But if they know what's going on, are they going to come skate? Or are they going to end their hockey career? Because, again, the playing field is no longer even or safe.
You have launched a petition to sign. It's on change.org. Here it is. Advocate to protect biological females in Minnesota women's ice hockey leagues. We're going to go ahead and link that also to the podcast and story. But where can people get more information? How can they get involved?
I think the change.org website will help. It's going to be easy to visit. It's easy to send. I've made my Instagram account now open so people can come directly to me because I want to keep the conversation going. We need to know what we're facing when we show up to the rink. Again, this is a complete elective, fun thing to do. We don't have to do this, okay? But it's an extracurricular that is so important to us. Many of my teammates are moms. And so, one last night to deal with dinner time, bath time, bedtime. This is such a sacred time for us. We've been doing this for almost 15 years. And I want to continue the conversation with other teams, with other players that are maybe in a higher division than we are, but may find themselves in like the A2 division that we are currently in, where we're experiencing this right now.
Well, Kelley Grotting, we certainly wish you the best. I know you speak for an awful lot of people, but thank you so much for joining me.
Liz, I want to thank you again for giving me the platform and the opportunity to speak up like this. I don't think a lot of people realize what we've been dealing with since October, but we won't let up.
Happy to spread the word. That will do it for this episode of Liz Collin Reports. We'll see you next time.